Ronnie Choate of Cookeville, Tennessee is our next guest on the Beyond the Flags podcast. Choate hails from Cookeville, Tennessee, and was recently crowned the 2025 Stealth Racing IMCA Stars Mod Light Florida Winter Nationals champion. He had a trio, 3 consecutive actually, of runner-ups, including the Sugar Bowl weekend at Hendry County Motorsports Park in Clewiston, Florida. On this discussion, he talks about his start and how he got to Mod Lights, his successes, including winning the 2023 Speedway Motors IMCA Super Nationals Fueled by Casey's. That's coming up next. But before we get to the interview, make sure wherever you're listening or watching from, you hit the like button and subscribe so that you don't miss out on future episodes. While representing the Stealth Racing IMCA Stars Mod Lights from Cookeville, Tennessee, Ronnie Choate is with us on the Beyond the Flags podcast. Ronnie, a couple weeks removed from a pretty big outing in the Deep South, and had some pretty good results in Florida, and not too bad of a job also at the opener of Florida Winter Nationals at Needmore Speedway. But overall, Florida Winter Nationals champion for a pretty grueling schedule, I got to say, for you guys. You guys ran a lot over a short span of time.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me on first. Yeah, it was a pretty good way to start the year. Of course, I mean, we wish we could have won a few more of them, but we definitely can't complain. I mean, we ended up with a championship over all the races and everything, so it was a really good way to start the season.
Started 4th at Needmore Speedway in Norman Park, Georgia, and then it was about another week until you guys raced. Ocala splitting the two with some top 10s, a 9th place finish on February 4th, and then the first of what would be 3 consecutive runner-ups in Florida Winter Nationals main event action, a second on Ocala, and at the Sugar Bowl, 2 runner-up finishes. Speed was there. You definitely had a really good car, and obviously consistency was there too.
Yeah, we kind of struggled a little bit the first night there at Ocala, and kind of trying a few things different, man. You constantly got to be trying different stuff to get faster as far as that goes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. And then second night there in Ocala, we were really good. I think we had a car capable of winning. Just kind of we'd had a few more laps. Maybe it could have been different, but definitely can't complain with running second. 3 nights there. It's a good way to start the year anyway, as far as that goes. And when you're racing with these guys of this caliber and as fast as everybody's getting, man, it's just running in the front like that feels good anytime.
It seemed like for the Sugar Bowl portion of things, obviously you were fast there Thursday. You won the Race of Champions and then the Manufacturer's Dash, and you guys were good in practice. It seemed like some of the stop-and-go action they were having for the features the next 2 nights didn't really allow for a long green flag run to sort of unfold, to give you an opportunity to just kind of build some momentum, give chase, and then overtake, maybe even in lap traffic.
Yeah, I wish they wouldn't have cut the races short first. I mean, it would have been nice to, you travel all that way and then end up getting races cut short when it's supposed to have been the biggest, the reason we were there was because it was supposed to be the show, and then they cut it short on us. But I don't know if we'd had anything for JJ, man. They done a good job. They're one of the best guys out there, and it was always fun racing with them guys, and glad to see them winning if we can. Of course, they're from Tennessee, but we would have liked to see some more green flag laps, and like you said, lap traffic and stuff. You never know what's going to happen, and we'd like to see it play out a little different. But still happy with second.
Obviously, Tennessee is where you're from. You're a former Tennessee Mod Light Racing Association champion back in 2023, but also a former winner of the Sugar Bowl back in 22, and then the Speedway Motors IMCA Super Nationals fueled by Casey's at Boone Speedway in 2023. Last couple years have been pretty fast, and obviously those are some pretty big achievements to win in that pretty tough group, the TMLRA, and of course to win the Sugar Bowl and Super Nationals, really 2 of the iconic races for the Stealth Racing IMCA Stars Mod Lights.
Yeah, definitely, man. We've definitely been blessed the last few years, that is for sure, man. We've had some good runs, definitely nothing to complain about. Last year, most of the year, we had problems and had a few wrecks and kind of trying to get back on track from all that stuff. But luckily, I think we've got things hopefully back on the right track here and trying to find a little more speed. That's just the thing with this class that most people don't realize. I mean, a lot of people may think they're oversized go-karts or say whatever they want to say about them, but this is the most competition in any class. I mean, or it's the same as any class, that is. I mean, you got some very, very smart people with technology and stuff getting into this class, and it just continuously, everybody's getting faster and makes you have to work harder. And, it's really just, that's the whole thing behind racing. You got to continuously try to get better. And if you're not, you're going to get passed up. And, but we definitely had a few good years here the last few years and won some of the biggest races out there. And just feel very blessed to have been able to do that and, hopefully win some more here this year and just keep going at it.
Well, and I'm curious, how did everything start with you in getting involved in racing in the first place?
Oh, man, I've been doing this since like my 22nd year racing. I mean, started when I was 13, started out in four-cylinder stuff and ended up in the late model, race four-cylinder stuff for probably 7 or 8 years, and then ended up in late model and run that stuff for 5, 6 years, something like that. And that stuff's just so much work, and it is very, very competitive. Didn't have a whole lot of help doing that stuff. Was lucky enough to win 5 or 6 races in the late model, and then had a buddy that got into mod lights and was racing mod lights and wanted me to drive his car, so I drove it and won in it a few times. And then about that time, my brother-in-law come along, and he's kind of started going to races with me and stuff, and kind of got ate up with it and was wanting to get into something. And I was like, well, heck, let's just buy a mod light and we'll go play with it, and that's just kind of how it all started. We've been in it about 10 years now, and and then, like I said, the brother-in-law is Logan Rittenberry, and I mean, he's a huge part behind all of this. Me and him are like partners on everything, and as far as the race cars, and we own Precision Bulldog chassis. We built a few cars here and there, and so he's definitely a huge part of it, and we've been at it about 10 years.
Well, and for you, is it just the attraction to drive because of the culture, or was there a family member prior to you involved in racing?
Yeah, my grandpa used to race, which that was before my time. But I mean, when the time I was 5 or 6, I would go to like Tennessee Motor Speedway and stuff with him to watch. And of course, I grew up riding 4-wheelers and racing those a little bit. And of course, parents didn't really like that because it was so dangerous. And then literally on my 13th birthday, got the first race car and went to the races that night, and then kind of, had some off years here and there, but pretty much been at it ever since then. So just kind of like just grew up at the racetrack, and just fell in love with it.
Well, and what amazes me about the Mod Light drivers is just the vast distances that you guys travel. Obviously, spending a lot of time on the road in, Georgia and Florida, in pretty much the month of February. And then, you've traveled to Arkansas. You've won the Natural State Nationals at $2 Pistol Motor Speedway. Mod Lights have just, it's so cool that they're part of the sanctioning because as the Sugar Bowl and as Super Nationals prove, it's got drivers from the Northeast, from New England, even guys like Jean-Francois LeBlanc from Quebec makes it down quite a bit. You've got a good contingent of South Florida drivers. You got drivers from Ontario, some decent guys in Ohio and Indiana, and then you've got Iowa that's thrown in the mix. Then you've got the Racing Rafferties and all their friends in Missouri. It's just so cool to see all the different pockets that have developed, and you guys go into kind of each other's territory and get a chance to race against what that area the best has to offer.
Yeah, that's very true, man. And I'll say, like the Mod Light group, I mean, everybody in it. That's the best thing about the class is like everybody gets along very well, and everybody help anybody if you need something. I mean, everybody just helps everybody. You don't see that a whole lot in all these classes. I mean, although we're very competitive, if somebody needs something, you give it to them, and that's like really the best thing about the class. And there is a lot of traveling and stuff involved in it, but if you want to get better, you got to go to the big races, and you got to go where the best guys are going to be. I mean, you can stay at your local track and race every week, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to be considered one of the best, you got to go race with the best just to see where you stack up and to know how much more work you got to put in to get to be the best. So it's just part of it. It is rough traveling up and down the road and putting all the time into it, but it's just part of what you got to do if you want to be good at it.
2023, we've talked about it a couple of times. You won the Super Nationals. Obviously, that's a big crowning achievement. What do you remember most kind of going into that weekend? And then obviously winning it, that was a big deal because Dylan Rafferty had just had a lock on that race. He'd won the first two, and you were the driver not named Dylan Rafferty to sort of put that streak to an end.
Yeah, he's had a lock on about every race there for several years. I mean, it's no secret. He's definitely the man to beat about all the time. I mean, I hate to see he had problems this year in Florida and stuff. I think he was having some motor problems because, well, for that, I'm sure he'd been one of the guys you'd have to beat down there, during speed weeks this year. But winning Boone, I mean, that's it's just the prestige of it, and and everything you get out of it, man. It ain't so much about the money at that race. I mean, it pays decent, but it ain't so much about the money. It's just winning on that level and just, they were, 73, 75 cars there and people from everywhere and just going down there and coming out on top of it, man. That's just something that's hard to do. And when you do it, it feels good to do it,
Absolutely. I mean, you have the big stage where obviously in literally and figuratively the big stage, you roll up and you've got the video board and you've got flames shooting up, fireworks, and it's the granddaddy of it all for all of Speedway Motors IMCA weekly racing. And as you said, the numbers for the mod lights keep increasing, especially in appearances at the Super Nationals, and that's a trend that I'm excited to see to continue to grow and continue to see new folks involved and more tracks come on board. And I think that's nothing but a win-win situation.
Absolutely, man. I mean, Boone's just a cool experience. I mean, we've been the last 3 years, and I never, honestly, as long as I've been in racing, had never been to something like that just to experience it, and the 3 wide and stuff. I mean, you just have to go to experience. It's a different atmosphere and just a very cool experience.
There's a lot of people that have talked to me and said, what is it like going there? And it's indescribable. It's just like you said, you've got to go and experience it because it's like it's almost like having a kid. You can read all about it, you can see all the things about it, but you got to go and do it to really experience it and take it all in.
Absolutely. I recommend anybody, just to go experience it once, and if you do that, you'll be back.
Are you looking to find that adrenaline rush, but you can't because you're not at the racetrack? Well, check out the IMCA TV Replay subscription library to have access to thousands of hours of racing for just $24.99 a month. Relive all the moments of the Speedway Motors IMCA Super Nationals fueled by Casey's at Boone Speedway, the Harris Clash at Deer Creek Speedway in Spring Valley, Minnesota, the IMCA TV Winter Nationals at Cocopah Speedway in Somerton, Arizona, Florida's Clash on the Coast, and dozens of Speedway Motors IMCA weekly racing program racetracks from across the nation, as well as the IMCA TV Dirtcast podcast. Plus, 25% of that $24.99 monthly fee goes towards the Drivers Point Fund and is a great way to help out your local racers. In 2023, over $97,000 was paid out to IMCA drivers directly at over 50 racetracks across the country. Please note that live broadcasts are not part of the replay subscription. That's IMCA TV. IMCA TV, where America comes to watch racing. So LR8 is your number. What's the story between the letters and the number combination there for you?
Well, my brother-in-law is Logan and I'm Ronnie, so we just kind of went with LR8. I mean, he's more, I guess, crew chief role. I mean, but he does drive. I mean, from time to time when he wants to, and he's won 3 or 4 races at a mod light and has very little experience in one. He's done very good, no more than he's been in one, and he just understands a lot of it, and so that's kind of where the LR come from. Is Logan, Ronnie, and I've just been 8. That's actually the first race. That was my favorite number anyway. In the first race car, when I went to get it on there on the 13th birthday, it had an 8 on the side of it. So I've always just stuck with it.
Hey, that's divine intervention right there for sure. Yeah. So I wasn't sure if it was left, right. If there was some code word. I don't know if anyone said that to you.
Yeah, I've had a few people say, does that mean left rear 8 or 8 pounds or what, Yeah,
totally. Well, you're from the great state of Tennessee. from Cookeville, east of the Nashville area, kind of. So I guess you could say kind of in between Knoxville and Nashville. That would be categorized as what, Middle Tennessee, technically.
Yep, Middle Tennessee. Yep, like you said, in between Knoxville and Nashville.
And for folks that've never been there, I'm sure there's plenty of cool stuff to do and see. The scenery in Tennessee is always beautiful. My mom's side of the family is actually from the Athens, Tellico Plains, Madisonville area outside of like Chattanooga, well, in between Chattanooga and Knoxville, on the border of North Carolina. But it's just so scenic and peaceful. The things that you like to do or experience in that area, perhaps maybe if somebody's cruising through Cookeville.
Well, of course, the Smoky Mountains go up there quite often, and just that's pretty cool experience. Just go up there and get away, and because it's not that far of a drive, so I'd recommend some, go up there and spend a few days in a cabin out overlooking the mountains. Man, it's just a pretty good little getaway.
Yeah, I'm hoping one of these days I get a venture there. My fiance, who currently lives in Indianapolis, we were looking at a map, and it's only 4 hours to Nashville, and it's like, holy smokes, that we could do that. But my problem is, and I didn't experience this problem because I think I got sick during the Sugar Bowl weekend.
Yeah,
I love the South. I'm afraid to go to the South because I'm such a Civil War amateur historian that it basically have to live there because there's so much to see. And of course, J.J. McDowell from Murfreesboro, where the Battle of Stones River was, and obviously Nashville, and even Eastern and Middle Tennessee, a lot of history and cool stuff to check out.
Absolutely. I mean, that's a good thing kind of about living here in the middle of stuff. I guess you would say you can drive 2 to 3 hours pretty much any direction. You can find about whatever you want to do.
Yeah, and that's what always baffles me. Even going to Indiana, like we went to Chicago, it was only 3 hours with traffic, and I flew into Louisville, it was only 2 hours, where for me, in living in the middle of Western Oregon, it's 2 hours to the Oregon border, or to the Washington border, 2 hours to the California border. And yeah, there's some cool stuff to do, but states are a long ways away from me, it seems like. So
lots of driving.
Obviously you're talking about your brother-in-law. He's a big help, but other folks that you want to thank that support you, sponsor you, or any marketing partners that you got going on.
Yeah, absolutely. First, Precision Auto Body, Precision Bulldog Chassis. We got Kelly RN Injectors. They help us out. And Arlo Consulting, Lifetime Fuel, Stafford Bush Hogging, BSB Shocks, Crutchfield Racing Performance Engines. That's pretty much marketing partners there as far as that goes. And then, friends and family, of course, mom, dad, and both of my sisters, Kristen and Kelly, my buddy Joe Don, Dusty, Claudia Jackson. I mean, we got several people that have just come by the shop and hang out with us, and we're working on the car or whatever. It's just we got some good people around us.
And is there a good a page, social media, or anything where folks can keep up to date as far as your results or upcoming schedule?
Yeah, Precision Racing. That's on Facebook, and that's pretty much all we got, just Precision Racing.
Okay.
We get on there and kind of keep up with us a little bit on there. We're not on there a whole lot, but we try to somewhat keep up with stuff on there. We're both very busy, and it's just hard to keep your hands everywhere.
Yes, I totally agree. And if can folks support you through? Do you have a current apparel run with T-shirts or sweatshirts at the moment?
No, it's been in talks, but we haven't done anything on that yet.
Okay, well, so everybody listening, stay tuned. There may be a release coming out soon.
If anything's released, we'll put it on Precision Racing. There might be something coming. We've been in talks of it.
Well, Ronnie, it was great to have gotten to know you actually for the last couple of years with Super Nationals, and then had a chance to interview you twice at the Sugar Bowl. Unfortunately, something that I ate, it sounded like, is what it's been narrowed down to. At first, I thought it was the flu that everybody's been getting, but it was food poisoning. So I guess it was a couple notches worse. But it's been great to know you, and great to see you do so well already to start to an early 2025 season.
Well, thank you, man. I appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll be doing more of these,
Absolutely. We'll definitely stay in touch and hopefully see you before Super Nationals. But if not, I know that we'll see you there and hopefully see you get qualified yet again and go for a second Super Nationals title.
That's the plan, man. That sounds good. It's good talking to you.
Well, race fans, that does it for this interview. We hope you enjoyed it. And we hope that you continue to enjoy these upcoming interviews. We appreciate it if you would like and subscribe wherever you're listening, whether it's on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, wherever it's at. Give us a like and give us a subscription so that we can deliver more of these great interviews to you for your listening pleasure. In the meantime, wherever you're at, wherever you're listening, we hope you have a great rest of your day and a pleasant evening, and we will see you soon here at Highside Racing Promotions.